and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. So, hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers and all you lovers of life out there. So, this is a very special edition video because in my last Ascension update, I wasn't able to provide a full Galactic update. So, I thought because so many things are happening at this time, that I will bring through this video at this time. So it wasn't coming at the beginning of the month, and I'm receiving so much guidance about what's really coming at the forefront of our awareness, and especially for the volunteer souls, this is the pinnacle of where we are now. So the first thing I would like to say today is that I'm still in the stages of writing my book, and as I started writing, I didn't know fully what I was getting myself into. And as I'm writing and writing, imagine it's like putting all this sacred, vast understanding of everything, which is so many layers and understanding, into just one book. And it's quite an undertaking. And I really appreciate those of you who are somehow guided to support the coming of this book, because a lot of it is already written. And there's still things I feel, it's like the edges, the things coming from the edges that kind of need to make it into this beautiful whole. It's especially going to bring forth a lot of knowledge for our volunteer souls, how we are, how we operate, how do we get activated, how do we serve the mission and the highest good. There's going to be a lot about creation principles, because this is my main domain as the creation pillar, and we as pillars, we set the templates, we bring forth the highest energy templates, the purest form of immaculate conception and immaculate design, and then they start to spread out through the people, the lands, and we work with the starseed individuals, and they later work with the light worker realm, and it's all a web of light we're building and forming at this time. So it's really coming through as a very sacred creation. And just yesterday I had a beautiful session with what I call these new kids, and you know, I call them the hope of the world, and whenever they meet me or I meet them, it's an instant recognition, and you just know you're in the presence of a very advanced soul. And I was shown just today during my run that I'm not always going to be doing what I'm doing now. The work that I've been doing since 2010 and 2011, it's been 7 years in the making, and I've been constantly pushing myself and being guided by Spirit to present all this information so that souls could start really awakening to what's happening at large, because it's not just happening planetary, it's galactic. And it's universal. And this book, the mission of the volunteer souls in the grand design, will cover all of these areas. It will be the infusion of light, how we operate, what's happening in the bigger sense of things, what is parallel ascension, what's multidimensional ascension, what is multidimensionality, how to create from the higher ascended heart, how to move into the ascended heart, how to create this divine union template. And it's everything that I've worked for so far in an ascended and compiled synthesized form. So I was shown that I'm not going to be here forever, and none of us will. And in this sense, doing these videos, it was a temporary mission. It was just a part of the assignment that I had. And my assignments will now move me more deeper into the Tantric life force mastery path, which I already started. It was seeded through the Tantric life force mastery and giving of the seed of life, and understanding of this principle of how we create only through our pillar. And this is my main domain, this is my main knowledge. So everything I've shared here was for the seeding of that, was for the activation of volunteer souls, was because of my love for these beautiful beings. And when I meet them, I always say to them, it's you I truly live for. I live for these beings. They are my heart. And a lot of them recognize me instantly, and I instantly recognize them, and you just know. It's a full-on divine remembrance, and these beings are just so pure. They're pure souls. They're here to work on the highest templates of light. And today in this video, we're going to also talk about the distortions that we do still have to work with, and a lot of the programming that's been happening through the lower astral, the mental planes, and how do we move through this, and how do we also assist other souls in this. So that's going to be the pinnacle of this galactic update. But I'm calling it the creation through the crystalline grid of light, is because this is what we're needing to cultivate. This is our pinnacle point. This is where we are now, to work with this refined higher light, not anymore as in people want to push through the egoic means. And you who are crystalline souls, you know how to do this. You've always done this. It's just a matter of grounding this knowledge here on earth. So I would like to say, if in any way you feel resonance, you can always support by donating the process of creating this book, because it looks like I'm just here sitting having fun, but not really. Since this year began, I have to tell you, I haven't slept much. I haven't really had a normal sleeping pattern. You know, I've been trying to juggle so many things at once, and I've been trying to do many things at once, and all those certain old things I have to let go, because I'm always shown that when we are working from the highest, the more expanded level of awareness, we have to move the little, which means the fragmented, the things, the many, and we have to move into a more synthesized form. And a lot of you might experience this at this time as well, because as much as there are still souls who are working through their personal healing timelines, then it's the ancestral healing timelines. You're going to move slowly into the collective, helping the collective with these distortions, and then through just the absorption and infusion of light, you're going to help at the planetary level. But it's a process, it's a gradual stepping stone, and this is all going to be explained in the book. All these various stages of the mission and preparations and activations, and as well as all the knowledge I have of physical ascension as a pillar of light. So I want to say that I've always had this knowing, but recently it's just been growing. And during this last session I had with this individual, I was just, you know, what I receive is when I have a channel session with someone, it's channeled, it's from spirit, it's not coming from, you know, me, but it's not like it's a separate thing, that my human self is separate from it. It's hard to explain this in words. You are infused with this light because I serve through Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit is me, and I am in Holy Spirit. So this is the purest level, and that's why I always tell you about the creation pillar mission, is to hold the purest level of light before it starts to fragment and spread into, you know, spread itself far and out in many different segments of creation. And we have this understanding of creation and how it all works, and it will be all in the book. But I was really so taken aback, because I always get, when the person shares something with me, I start getting this synthesized aspects, and they come together, and I get this vision as an essence, because we don't still understand what's happening, because a lot of souls are perceiving incarnation as in this life and then it's that life, but it's sequential and not in a linear form. It's cyclical, and it's a spiral. And a lot of people say, well, I haven't finished my mission in that part of the life, so I failed. But it's not really true, because we are a continuation of that mission. It's always a carry forward. It's a crystallized wisdom we carry forth. And a lot of people who have had in certain timelines, for example, Atlantean timelines, these beings have ascended, they went to these other realms, but they came back now. And I call these the ascended Atlanteans, and a lot of us connect with that realm. And now with this greater light infusion and understanding, we know that it's different aspects of the whole oversoul complex that move out into creation, that are all working for the unity. And this, again, I will explain all this in the book, how this is in a bigger, grander sense, and that's why I call it the grand design. Because when we look at it just from the perspective of our personal lives, we're still kind of not seeing the bigger picture. So imagine the oversoul complex being the truth of what the soul is. That's the true fusion of the soul. It's not just the individualized aspect that you relate to, oh, this is me, right? And many humans could not relate to that aspect because they experienced the very low aspect of the reincarnational cycles. They couldn't move on to greater expanded levels of their being, so they could not even know what that is. And I thought, well, this is me, I have a soul. And that was the highest knowledge they could understand up until this point, when a lot of star-seeded beings are here to kind of shatter those illusions and, you know, crack the codes and show the bigger reality present here. So when we have and work with these major timelines, we always carry forth the energy. So imagine it's like the oversoul works on a certain template, on a certain essence, and in this life you're going to have a recurrent, repeating, recycling experience, but it's not really the same. It's just the essence of it might feel the same, so you can expand it into a greater light. So when we had this session, it was a lot about this Atlantean timeline and what came forth. And I literally saw what was happening, and I just channeled it, but I didn't give it in direct transmission because I always avoid telling people things as information in the sessions, because I don't want to create inception. I want them to receive themselves. And it was really miraculous, because during the light activation part in the end, the person saw everything. And they said, I saw everything. I even felt the feelings. I saw what was happening, and now I know what you were talking about. And it was beautiful because it's so easy for me to work with these individuals who are so advanced, because you just need to kind of like activate a certain gateway. You help them to do so, and they open up. and they have a vast amount of knowledge and remembrance, but there are certain things perhaps they're carrying forth is in their physical body as a continuation of that life. And this is what I explained to you in my latest Ascension update. Watch that for the month of June, about the record memory and how we are clearing that, so that our new Ascension, ascended infused reality will be from that purity of space. And as much as a lot of people work on different levels and segments of light, at a certain point you will break through that. You will come into the working only with the white light, with the pillar of creation and the galactic pulse of light, and you will become this unified being of greater service. But it's all a gradual process, so you have to be compassionate and understanding of yourself. And there's a lot of people who are, even though they might be very advanced as a soul, in the physical body we still have this body, and we need to integrate. We need compassion for the body. We need to understand our process of the soul infusion in the body, which requires a lot of downtime, a lot of patience, because a lot of us, we're constantly processing energy. I'm constantly processing energy. And it's not just the work I do physically, and when I want to do too much physically, I overburn. And my oversoul says, no, do it this way. So we have to eliminate certain things that are serving the lower so that we can serve in an even bigger amount. But it's like you come at this vaster, wider, expanded area when you can encompass more souls with your presence than you just trying to help a few individuals in a certain way, because you still do it a little bit through ego. So that's kind of like the learning curve of a lot of volunteer souls and star beings who are here to assist, and how we assist will be all explained in the book. As well as what is truly important is when we assist others in anything, in any regards, and this is the most important part, is I was shown that we always enter, we create an infusion of light. Again, that will be explained in the book. And through that infusion of light, we also have to, as a human, know our exit strategy. Because I've learned, and it was my own learning curve, that a lot of times people get addicted because we're magnetic. We get attached to our light. They want more, but they're still perceiving it on the mental level. So no matter what you would say to them, advise them, or whatever course of action you would kind of like try to push them at, if they're not ready, they're going to take this in mentally, but the mental level does not shift you. It's like when people say thoughts create. Well, not really. That's the mental plane. You have to understand the creativity, the creation on the fifth density template, which is the ascended template into the fifth dimension, which is heart, mind fused as one. And the heart is the essence, the core, the heart of the beloved. And I spoke about this in my last video update. And when this awakens, there's no filters, there's no transfusion as such. And you become like this direct channel for that light. And the mind just serves the body, like getting certain information you need to make things physical, so you're not airy-fairy and you're not just up there somewhere. You know how to make things happen. Because alignment with the fifth dimensional template is not mental. It's not wishful thinking. You always have to get down into the root. So on this level, you start working with the life force, and life force creating everything. So the life force is encoded with pure light. And that's going to be my mission in the next stages. It's going to be more about retreats with people, what I call life force retreats. And what I'm being shown when I'm going to finish this book, that's the part I'm going to move into. And it will be all about the Tantrika path, because this is where the completion of something leads you into the creation of something new. It's just how it is. And I know people might get attached and they want more and more. But I've spent so much time in infusion with this, 7 years or more, with the videos, with writings. I was working on my book and I looked at some of my old writings. There was like piles and piles. It's like books in its own. I was like, no, it's too much. I can't deal with that. How do I bring the new in? Some of the things already written about. It's hard to go through all of that, to see through in piles of piles, and it's very linear. And for me, it's hard to function in a linear fashion because I'm a spiral girl. I'm a being. I'm a light being. And although people might say, well, we're all light beings, no, not everyone has yet activated their light body. Some people are still functioning on very low planes of reality, and they haven't yet activated the beingness, which we call the light being level. And that's where we're here to help, to assist. Without the wishful thinking what being we already are, we have to do the work. And a lot of people need that help. But the exit strategy, what I'm talking about, is not like you abandon or leave someone. It's just when you see, you're shown through your soul, you're shown through spirit, you've done everything you can on that level, and they need to integrate. You can't help. They're just needing you and sucking you dry and, taking the energy in. So you have to learn that balance. You have to learn to give in this infinity symbol loop, right? So sometimes they acquire little, they need time, sometimes they'll come up for more, and sometimes it's not so fixed. There's a lot of people who will come to you for services, for your light, to learn from you. But there's also going to be people who sometimes you're just going to assist through, it's not going to be through a session, or it's not going to be paid work. But Spirit will say this is needed, and you're going to have to listen to that, because the heart is the knowing of that transmission, not the mind, which tells you, well, but they didn't pay me, they didn't do that, whatever. I'm not telling you I do free sessions. I don't do that. Don't mistake that. But what I'm saying is that in the real life scenario, sometimes these situations will happen, and those times it's not going to be someone asking you, well, do you do free sessions? I can't pay you. No, it's more, I'm talking about when you're communicating with someone and there's a light infusion happening only via your communication or a stream of the love you're pouring out, and that kind of thing is not like, now you have to pay me for that. You know, that's what I'm talking about. And recently I had an experience with this because someone was in a very extreme situation and they kept writing to me, and I felt called in the direction, but I knew it's going to be temporary. And I had a dream when in the dream I literally infused them with light. I was sharing and I was trying to pull them back into this oneness because their energy was so scattered and it was so distorted through all that they experienced. Because when people are on fight and flight and survival mode, you know, it's like, say, this freezing reality where you can't see more, you can't expand to a higher reality. That's all they see, and so they live these personal stories and they forget that there's other people living their stories, and that there's a bigger complex, and it's not just personal, it's not just planetary, it's galactic. So the more you expand your consciousness, you're going to be able to assist from that level. And sometimes that means you're going to have to exit the things you think you need to do, but your soul will show you, no, 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 there's other people doing that, now you do that. It's like everything is pulling all parts up. All life moves upwards. That's true ascension, and it's multidimensional. So for me, and I'm telling you, it's very important to know when you enter and when you exit, because you'll feel it. The life force will simply go away. When life force guides you to serve, and it's going to be purely through spirit, you're going to feel an upliftment. You're going to love doing that. But then you'll feel like depleted and tired and exhausted, and if you're still giving, that's no longer your calling, because the body's already telling you, no, you've done it. Stop doing it. Say no now. Create this infusion of light, then withdraw, because you've done everything. Now they have to go through it, otherwise you're not really helping. You're just keeping them on this addiction dependency upon you and your energy, and that's not what we do, is helping people to become their sovereigns. We're just making them dependent on our light. And a lot of people whose ego grows a lot, they're like, oh, I'm needed, people need me, I'm doing all this light work. No, it's not the template we do it from. It has to be from the core, the heart, which is, it's neutral. And you are responding to this. You're not reacting to the energy. And if someone says, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need your help, and you're feeling, no, it's not coming from that space of they could even understand in your higher discerning mind, which is the higher mind, through the heart, because the heart truly discerns. When it's fused with the higher mind, that's discernment, right? Then you will know, you will see sometimes, and you will not get tangled or too much involved in the personal situations they're living, because a lot of times people receive and they want extra and they want more and more and more. So this is the exit strategy I'm talking about here. And as far as the work that I've been doing for so many years, I would like to say that what I felt today was Spirit through me saying, now it's your time. Now it's really your time. Because there's a lot of, not just young ones, also a lot of people who are ascending, and they're really coming into the power. And it's not just up to one individual. I often get people saying, wow, I'm just happy to know you're there somewhere and you exist and you're doing all this work. No, I'm doing the work that I was assigned here through my mission, and it's a calling that is always going to be there, because you don't exist otherwise, because you do exist through your spirit calling. That's what infuses with you with all this light. But I'm not the only one, and I can't do all the work, and I can't, do the work for everyone, and I can't always be here making all these videos endlessly. At a certain point, creation comes into a new cycle, and it births something new. So that's where I'm at this time. And we have a beautiful full moon in Sagittarius, and for me, that's really expansive. It happens in my first house, which is me, the self. Where am I going next? The next chapter, expansion. And Jupiter as well is going direct. And I've talked about in my recent Ascension update, read it on my blog, my Ascension blog, or on my Facebook page. It's about the latest upsurge of energy, what we're moving through, and I spoke a lot about Venus as in our past template of the template, the origin for Earth, and how Jupiter is our polling station for the higher expansion. It's our future, it's where we're being moved through, and it's also interstellar. It's connected with other galactic stations of light. So if you want to know more, if you want to expand, go read that blog. There's a lot of information there. But at this point, I really feel so tired. The work I'm doing is not just with the people and with the books and the things I do, it's energetic. And lately it's been super intense. And I will tell you what happened today is I went out, and yesterday I felt a huge upsurge of energy. It was a new download coming through. And I always know, and it came through in our portal through lots and lots of rain, lots of water. So I woke up today, wanted to go for a run, came out, there was all these vast chemtrails, but they were really huge. And I just listened to latest Cassandra channeling on YouTube about these things, what's happening on our planet right now, and it was all in concurrency with that. And it was a lot about chemtrails and what are they for. But my mission today in this video will be, how do we work with it? That's going to be the expansion that I'm going to provide in this video. So we're going to learn about really infusing this through the light of the crystalline grid. And when I went out, I really saw there were like these huge crosses. I felt there were never as many as today. And you know, later they become like this distorted hazy sky. So instead of this beautiful crystalline blue, it's almost like, because of this, a lot of us don't even know how the skies even look like. And I remember someone said a while ago, I think it was Stephen Greer in his documentary, what was it called? No, not in the series, I think in the other one, in the second one, Undisclosed, what was it called? Unacknowledged, yeah. And he spoke about how he saw this extraterrestrial vehicle, sorry, tongue-tied, I'm very tired, as you can tell. And he spoke about how the skies used to be so blue back in the past. And it's true, because this program with the chemtrails has been ongoing, many people say around the latest 10 to 15 years, something like that. And it's just been terrible, you know. Sometimes you just come out and the sky is not the sky as it should be. And with this, we are coming into this awareness of everything that's being done to push the planet to not move where it needs to move. And we're going to learn how to do that, how to infuse that, and we're going to do that at the end of the video. But for now, I also wish to address certain topics that are really, really important here. Because this is a part of the huge agenda to keep the planet in its safe current state, where just a few people could have the conditions, as it's almost like claiming this planet for their own and saying, well, this is how it's going to be. So they created all these agendas, all these false beliefs, distorted manipulation, because they're masters of the mental plane. They know how to manipulate the mental levels to the degree of perfection. And I want to say that there's so many agendas people don't know about. And there's certain agendas we say, well, we know about, and there's certain agendas that we don't know about. And when you clearly see the truth is when you have that mark of seership, you will be knowing. You will know. And you will see, well, that's an agenda. So lately I've been reflecting on, because someone commented on my Instagram with this typical classic, you know, oh, yoga is witchcraft, Jesus will save you, repent, you know, these things. I was just laughing. I was like, okay, that's one thing, you know, we're used to these things and the Bible thumpers and the fanatic people. But I felt, but what is it really about here? And I clearly tuned into, and Spirit showed me that even that is a program. It's inception. And when you understand the nature of creation and the mental plane, you will see how, and you can tune into it yourself, how distorted it was. And as much as there's a lot of people who are working in clearing the astral, and a lot of us do that, you know, because our soul is vast, and it has complexes through which it creates divisions as extensions of itself. So it's not separate, but it's different aspects doing different types of work. So when you integrate your multidimensionality, that's what you're capable of doing. And you're capable of being many places at the same time, because you're a light being and you operate this way. You can just create different extensions as birthing parts of you. So when this happens is, you'll be able to see how distorted it is. It truly is. And what the mental inception is that these lower mental planes, they have been infused with, it's almost like they're not just imprints, because imprints are something else, they're implants. because they literally been implanted in the subtle structure of that template, so that people, when they function on lower consciousness, and especially younger souls, because they do still think they need someone to govern them, so ascribing to that program is what they do. They need someone to rule them or to show them or say, I'm your government, I will do this for you, you know. So the younger souls fall for that and these entrapments. So the seership people, we don't have that. We see through all of that, but we're still a part of this in terms of, okay, how do we help others? We don't, you can't literally help the other directly. We do that indirectly through the infusion of light, because people don't, it's not don't, but they are not capable at a certain point, because they're so manipulated, they're so entrenched in this, that they can't know how to move through. They don't know how to move through. So we do that first indirectly, so that enough threshold of light is created, so that it slowly people start to think, what's happening? This is weird, you know, and they're starting to wake up. That's what we're doing as Ascension Pioneers and Volunteer Souls. So these programs, and one of them is like, oh, Jesus the Savior, right? It creates this false persona self. And I always felt when people talk about Jesus like this, I'm laughing, because that's not Jesus at all. It's a figure that is a holographic identity that's not a true master sovereign being that exists. It does, but not in that way. That's not Jesus. Jesus is not an astral being. So there's these different programs they built in the subtle structure of the mental plane to keep us enslaved. And one of these programs, as well, as I was shown, and I'll talk about this as well in my book, is recently, you know, there's a lot of these things coming up. Why? Because they want to keep the humans divided and confused and not connected to their creation self, so that the heart, which is our powerful cosmic gateway to all, to the living creatrix and to all life force that creates everything. Nothing exists without life force. So they want to keep us confused and doubt things and say, what's right, what's wrong, you know. So one of these inceptions as well, one of these implants, is the current transgender initiative. And you know, now it's such a big theme out there, and people are all about, well, we need free will, you know, free will to do whatever we want with our bodies. But this issue is not about free will at all. We're being sold this because they're so smart, they know what they're doing, you know, with their manipulations. I'm just laughing because people fall so quickly, because if you sell something to someone who's not aware, you sell them at like, look, you can do this, you have the right, you can do everything, you're a free being. But you're not really seeing that you're going against the very nature of divine principles, divine laws in creation. There are certain universal laws through which everything functions. And when you go against them, you go against your light nature, your light being. So you literally move into the dark. Because the light and the dark in the fifth dimension, as you know, they can't coexist. It's a fusion happening. And people talk about it as division. I call it more fusion. Division, fusion, two sides of the same coin. It doesn't matter. We say separation of worlds, it's actually union of worlds. Everything, when you see everything as a unified process, you're truly functioning from unity template. And what is sold here to humanity is to not even know what their bodies are for, to not understand the divinities of our sacred bodies, because we're being sold this as, oh, you have the right to do whatever you want with yourself. But seriously, cutting off parts of our body, it literally, it's malevolent. It's not benevolent, because it creates a distortion in our energy field. And people say, well, I have the right to do everything. Yes, from that perspective you do. It's a learning curve, but you are going against the very nature of your light beingness. And as you cut aspects of you, and that's not the same when you have an accident that this just happens, is you have your own choice to do that, to totally you know, consecrate your body. And it just goes against the sacredness of the spirit form, which creates the physical form. And we're being sold these things so that people would be like, oh, I can do anything I want. So we'd have confusion, and anyone, it would just be running around doing whatever they wanted. And that's what creates division. And everyone's like, that's my right. No, that's my right. Instead of us living as through universal laws, as the wise ones, as the connected ones, as the pillars of love. And love would never go against the very nature of Creator. And the Creator is, our bodies have been created perfect already. When you received your body, your higher self already created it this way. And then your human self gets in this illusion through this mental manipulation, through these lower planes of reality. You think that's your belief, because when you don't know how to expand your consciousness, you ascribe to that. but it's a collective consciousness belief. It's not just your personal belief, which you somehow acquire through your own misconceptions. It's bigger, it's vaster, because it's happening through the collective consciousness, which is the consciousness of separation. So they want people to fight. They want to say, that's my religion, no, that's my religion, no, I'm right, I'm wrong, you know, to create so much of that confusion, as well as other, you know, programs, initiatives like the vaccine, which is about, you know, really eliminating our natural ability to function through an immune system that's really, you know, congruent with our life force. So it depletes our immune system this way, and they put like these little kind of toxins in our body this way, and we think, oh, we're functioning, but in truth it's a program of depopulation and thinking, well, survival of the fittest, right? Because they say, well, too many people on the planet, we got to do something, we're going to do it our way instead of the natural way. So these are all the programs, and we ascribe to them, and we literally, a lot of people when they sleep, if their consciousness is not expanded, they go to these lower planes. When they wake up, sometimes they have these ideas, or, you know, when they live their life, or sometimes you don't have to just go to sleep. It's always there, you know, it's like an envelope around the planet. And you think it's my idea, you think it's your belief, but it's really coming from this mental manipulation of the mass through mass consciousness. But what we're doing here as volunteer souls, as pillars of light, we're creating a consciousness of unity consciousness that's fifth dimensional and beyond, because in fifth dimension it's where unity begins, and there's just different overlaying factors of that, and more and more expansion. It doesn't end there. The fifth dimension is just one of these templates. It's a beginning. It's a creative upliftment energy when you use your light to create and inspire it, and you create with the heart of that creativity instead of the dark, which does not even know how to birth life. It can't. So these beings who are doing that, they need life force, right? Where do they get it? Because they have themselves been living in the dark for so long. How did they get life force? Well, watch Jupiter Ascending movie. They're drinking it from other people. So they're using all these tools to have the biggest weapon, which is feeding through the life force of everyone who's giving them power. And that's the biggest weapon. So at the same time, they're also creating all these resources, right? And through that, there's a lot of people who already know about this. They have all these dark funds and resources and hidden programs, and at that time, because it is galactic, not just planetary, they're creating the militarization of our space because they have their own agendas. And for us to really know all that, we have to step further into the galactivation of our being to really see what's happening. And as we start functioning on greater broader frequencies, so greater bandwidths, we're no longer going to ascribe to that. So sound, like pure sound, because a lot of these programs are created through a distorted version of the sound. It's like a very low frequency, and you function on that, and you get cranky and upset. You know, when these things happen, like chemtrails, you can feel sometimes edgy energy, and it's not from you, because you can feel what it creates, because these heavy metals and toxins, these chemicals they're releasing, they're affecting our bodies. So I always tell people, eat healthy food, even if you say I already have a healthy life. Well, we have to continue to purify. This is where we are. We're in this, the warring stages. This is the war of the consciousness. So we have to continue to embed our body with the highest light through the sun, living organically, be in nature, do everything we can, and constantly purify. I eat the purest food because that, I know it's so important for my vehicle to function at its highest broadband capacity. And even if I eat healthy, I still do lots of, you know, green powders and what's called superfoods, because I know I constantly need to eliminate the poisons and toxins that are in the air, the soil, the water. Nothing is pure at this level at this time. So we have to continually work on that. Like light infusion has to be a constant process. We can't get lazy here. And sometimes we get tired because we say, well, there's so much happening. We can't get lazy. That's how it is. Some other programs, yeah, there's so many of these programs. A lot of them are also the New Age inceptions. There's a lot of people who are pushed through their agendas and initiatives to be the spiritual teachers, but they're really not. They're not working for unity consciousness. They have their own agendas. I always advise you to tune into your resonance, what's really true, what's not. I work with the most advanced souls, and a lot of you watching this and my videos who really resonate to the core, not just the curious ones who come and go, and sometimes people who are a bit fanatic and they just stay for their own reasons. But you who are truly in your sovereign heart, you resonate. You are one of the purest and most advanced souls on the planet, and it is a constant work, but that's why we're here. And like I said before, it's not just about me. Many of you who've been like watching me for years, Spirit today said, now it's about you. Now you step on your stage. You're going to be called. A lot of people will be called. Like, we're being all summoned by Spirit, and I'm being summoned in my own way as well. So when we are, how to say this, when we are working with these third dimensional or lower fourth dimensional frequencies, we don't understand what the fifth is. That's this heart. The heart knows. It's not about intellectual knowledge, like, okay, the principles of soul, how does it function? I always tell you, this is important for more advanced souls who are here to bring that knowledge to help others awaken to what the soul even is, what realities are. Like, I have this knowledge of creation, how everything functions, and I can pass that forward. But in my life, I don't think through the mental planes. It's coming from this higher guidance system, but the mental reality, you know, the mind should be the servant to the heart, not the other way around. And when people who only mentally ascribe to this, it's not shifting their energy. There's a lot of people who say, I wish for that. Oh, if I only created that, but they never do, because it's wishful thinking. They haven't mastered through their oral integration of the four lower bodies and create a synthesis and walk and create through the life force. And that's the reason why for all these advanced beings who are now ready, I created the Tantric course, and this will be a continuation of my new path. It's not really new, it's just a new chapter in my physical life, but you know what I mean. And so when we function from this confused, scrambled, astral, you know, reality, we don't understand that, you know, when people say, well, I need psychic protection. Psychic energy is not spirit energy. Psychic energy is just energy, and energy is still like, are you going to use it in the light or the shadow? It's not really a guarantee for you to be in that spirit, in the course of the spirit. And when spirit infuses itself through you, you have to be pure. Remember the ancient scriptures of Jesus and the true teachings of Jesus when he said, the heart that opens through the gateway of purity. And that's the true sovereign nature, so it has to be pure. So the pure souls are coming here at this planet at this time, bringing that light infusion, but it's not all about them. We're just the bridges. It's not like we own this planet, it's not like it's our planet, it's no one's planet, but we're here as bridges because of what's happening, because of the initiative of the planet to ascend and the beings who are ready to ascend with it. And the rest has a chance to decide. If you're in the gray zone, you can still decide which side, right? We can't, like I said, really help people who don't want to be helped, but we can always help at the same time. We do that through our spirit self holds this level of the light infusion. Our human does the grounded human things. A lot of people call that the ground crew. I don't call it like that because it sounds like, you know, there's a little bug coming here today. I call it more the grounded, being the grounded aspect of the oversoul complex that's here now in the body. But it's not the ground crew, because it's not like we're really, or like light workers, like we're working. We are creators, we're light creators. Workers make us sound like we're slaves to what's happening, and it's not the right term. Many people have been using it. I don't use it at all. When people tell me you're a light worker, I am not a light worker. I'm a light being, and I'm a creation pillar. And that's it. And even in my book, the term that's been coming through was light emissaries, because we emit light. Light worker is like, you're doing the work. And again, that relates to you know, the dark priesthood that developed this theory of we need to work, we need to earn our creations here, we need to work for them. So we slave and slave and slave for the system, and the system is really a false imprinted reality. So we have to learn how to work with our own discernment, see what's false, what is a part of this mental plane, and your heart guidance and how you create on a higher ascended reality, you create through the infusion of divine love through you. So your heart and the aspect, which we would say the mind, work as a unit, as a functioning unified self. That's true divine union. People have been talking about divine union like it's you and another person. It can be as an extension of that, but divine union is that state when your inner polarities merge. The heart and mind create this powerful facet, which is your core essence. And that core essence always discerns and naturally filters everything. That's without any filters, you have that knowledge. You don't need readings, you don't need whatever it is. So yesterday we had this session, and I didn't fully express what I saw, but when the person expressed it, it was exactly what I saw. And I said, you see, I just helped you to hold the space. You're advanced enough now, you're your own reader, your own channeler, you know everything. But psychic energy is not true channeling energy. The true channel can be only from spirit. The channeled astral energy, yeah, anyone can see visions, but these visions are always altering and changing. So people who give power to these psychic or readings coming from the psychic levels, these astral levels, and I always told you that for years. And I will listen to Cassandra's channelings, they say the same thing, and I've been already talking about this like in 2010, and I just woke up and I knew this. Because we have the knowledge within us already. We don't need to learn it. A lot of you are advanced souls. You don't need to learn these things. I'm just reminding you of what you already know. And if you are tuning into these psychic readings, know that you're maybe sometimes meant to hear something, but don't be dependent on it. Because in the astral realms, you know, just like in the dreams, everything shifts. And it's like this weird energy intermingling. Everything is like changing forms, like shape-shifting. That's the astral. But the spirit is focus. What is your inner focus, the vision of the heart? You just know. And you create on a higher template of fifth dimensional reality within yourself, which means the self has to align with that reality through the core. And it cannot be mentally understood. The mind wants to reason. For example, you might not resonate with someone. And I had recently this experience, and nothing was wrong with the person whatsoever. They're a nice being and everything. And my mind was still trying to understand why I'm not guided to, you know, be with them or meet up with them or something like that. And I was like trying to figure out, I'm like, why am I doing this? The heart knows. The mind tries to find always reasons, like it solves problems, right? The mind tries to solve the problems. And the heart's like, I just know, trust me. And maybe in times to come, when the understanding is integrated, you will know exactly why. But we always think, okay, logic is our nature. No, we need logic too. For the processing of the certain things, we need to ground the energy on earth. But it's not the core. The core is the heart, and it's fused. And it's no longer this division, okay, is it either the heart or the mind? Which one do I use? You know, the secret, the law of creation, it's not really the law of creation. Sorry. Guys, sorry to disappoint some of you, but it's claiming that our thoughts create, and that was embedded with people who don't have a full understanding. When you say the thoughts create, that's still mental plane. It's not the higher plane. So, guys, it's a lot of knowledge here, but let's get to the greatest part today that needs to be shared through. We're powering through this together. So I'm going to share with you one very simple exercise you can do, because as light beings, we don't just work physical to physical, we work light to light. We work in light transmission. We emit light and we receive light. And everything, even the solar codes coming from the sun, everything is received as light. Light is life force. Life force is encoded with light. And when you integrate, you are in love. You are in the process of creativity, and that's love. So when you have things like the chemtrails, first of all, I told you we need physical protection, yes, right? And saying, oh, I need psychic protection because there's these things happening, or energies or entities. No, psychic protection keeps you in a psychic bubble. You're not being transparent in spirit. And Cassandra, right, the channelings, they said, and I love this expression, they said, you become a target for those that want to break your barrier to make you again susceptible to that. So you actually become a target by saying, I need psychic energy to protect. Because you create, again, this ovoid, and that's not pure spirit transparency. You need to become anchored in truth, in spirit. That's what's keeping you in the spirit transparency and the heart core resonance, which is the only truth we really anchor. It's like becoming the embodiment of the truth, period. And the mission of divine lovers, as in really embodying the cosmic beloved within, the cosmic heart, that is the instant direct transmission from the heart of creation, from the divine mother and father as one in union. So in this exercise, it's very simple. Whatever it is, whatever energy, let's say it's chemtrails, and I see them. So today I was standing on the bridge. I simply focused on my heart, and it's like you see a diamond shape, a diamond core, like this crystalline light that's within you. It's imbued within your heart. Your hands are the extensions of that heart. They're moving the energy outwards. It's a physical being. That's the cosmology of your body. I reach out the hands. I imagine that my hands are radiating with powerful crystalline frequency. Simultaneously, I connected my crystalline heart with the crystalline grid. The crystalline grid is the true grid of the planet. It's the original design. It's the immaculate conception from the planetary logos called Earth. And it connects to the other crystalline realms and frequencies at the core of the crystalline creation. And if you want to know more about that, get my almost free audiobook about The reason probably why I say free is because they're also, you know, the same very affordable energy exchanges, but it's called the mini audiobook on the crystalline realms of creation. You can just go on my homepage of Serapina Light. There's a Tantrika book of Sacred Orgasm and the Crystalline Realms of Creation, 2 mini audiobooks. So you can infuse yourself with the true knowledge of what it means to be creating from the crystalline levels, not these distorted mental planes or thoughts creating. No, it's your crystalline core creation self that creates here. So when you do that, you connect to the crystalline grid, and you just see these, like a lot of people who've had my activations, I've had like 3 feedbacks so far that they started seeing the pulses of the crystalline grid, like tiny little dots, not just dots that you would see as light reflections, but the true, you know, it's like sparkles of light. They look like rainbow spectacles, and they're luminescence. It's the essence of luminosity, and it travels to your body as well because you are becoming more crystalline. And it's interesting this is happening. So you imagine now this crystalline grid, it's like this over-encompassing nature of creation that is just pulling that, all the distortions, and you with your assistance, because you're the grounded one, and together in this powerful transmission you're holding the space, and they start to dissolve. So even though there will still be physical aspects like toxins, things, at that point you work with the elements, basic 5 elements we all know, the physical grounded nature of our physical planet structure. So I always work with the elements and I talk to them. So you talk in this transmission of light, elements, you know, this is what we need, do your work, we're refining, we're purifying, and just envision that the elementals are doing their work. You can call them nature angels, you can call them elemental kingdoms, whatever it is, it's that life force in the nature structure of the planet. I'm very connected to that, as I always see it like my group, the Elohim, who are creating this crystalline spot, and I'm just the grounded descended form of those beings, the light beings, here to hold that in the physical sense. In a very tiny level when you look at it, and it's still grand, because I'm looking at these in the sky and I'm laughing, I'm saying, you don't know what we're creating here as beings of light. I'm laughing because they're all doing these things and they don't know what we know as well. We have this knowledge, and I'm laughing because although there's always these distortions, and we even here in the Alps we have these chemtrails, they're everywhere on the planet. So they're working with the entire grid. Sorry, I'm itchy. And what's happening is I'm just seeing it, like no matter what happens, this is such a luminescent place. You can't distort that. And again, I remember listening to Cassandra's channeling just yesterday, and when they said that Earth moves whether you're on it or not, Earth is evolving to the next stage. And I have the biggest goosebumps because it's true. I'm telling you, from the creation principles point of view, it's what's happening. And that's why those of us who are connected to the core of Gaia and what's happening with the planetary and bigger expanded view of our multidimensional ascension, we know, and we're so at peace with that. So your human self might say, oh, these bastards, you know, in the sky, what they're doing, and you can get angry or upset. That doesn't help. Do your light emanation, not light work, but do your light transmission, and just, you know, you have the power. Like I said, it's not all about me, or it's not about any guru, teacher. No one has. Everyone's just doing their own part. It's about you now. You're the one who's stepping up. Okay? So let me think if there's anything else to share. Yes, I've shared with you before that it's really important now to create this fusion. And I'm being shown that, you know, of all the templates that I've created as mastery courses, what's really most important at this time is definitely multidimensional ascension, because we're seeing a broader version of ascension, what it is. You can get that on my page. Cosmic Beloved, which teaches you how to integrate your own beloved, so you can have your heart of the beloved fully open, free. You can be the cosmic beloved in a sense of divine union lived in flesh and form. And how do you do that? Through the integration of physical assistance, through these mirroring relationships that come into your life to empower you. And a lot of these new souls, the new kids, hello Bumblebee, oh so cute, they're awakening so fast. These beings are like 20, 22, and they're already going at it so rapidly, you know. In my latest session, the person shared with me, well, every morning I wake up like I'm a new body, because it's happening that fast. It's like it's encoded, and they're just living it through. They're just living it. They're just opening up to. And that's one thing. And the third most important part is the Tantrika Life Force Mastery course, because you will learn how to work with this pure benevolent force and to use it for everything, to create as you were truly meant to, as a sovereign being of light. You are a light being. You're not a slave to the work. You are not just this third dimensional vehicle. You don't even have a body. Body is not something we own. It's a vessel. It's just our current expression in form, but form transpires. Our luminescent light body is our eternal form, and through it which we travel through many realms, dimensions, experiences, but it needs to be activated. Before it is, you're not a light being. And I know there's many who would argument to that because they don't understand how creation works. And I've met many people who think they're already masters, they're already light beings, they're already this, but they're still so scrambled because of this mental confusion and because a lot of this manipulation that's been going on. So they can't move into embracing a higher reality and really seeing the thing, because we can't move into our ascended self in a wishful thinking way. We can't fool ourselves into it. We can't fool anyone. Spirit sees everything. We see ourselves from the core. Everything is as it is. It's like we can paint something red, right? But if behind it the color is something else, that color will still exist. It's just we painted over it. But it's like layers, like it's over layers. And that's the true meaning. And to enlighten ourselves in that way, but not in a way that we think we're enlightened and now it's over and we're above all these people who are not yet enlightened. That's ego. We are all at different levels. Even enlightenment has stages. It's a process which, when you enter your fifth dimensional self, it's an endless journey. And it's not like it's a fixed, date or an event or, even initiation of the soul. There will be many, many, many more to come. So I hope all the wisdom I've shared throughout the years helped you as well. I love having this recent session because at the end, this beautiful person said to me, whatever you're doing, I just want to thank you because you're creating not just for me and a few others for now, but for the future. I just see it. It's going to have an impact and it's rippling out. And that's the vision of what I was shown. And I know that was all worth it, every single sleepless night and energy investment and whatever. But at this time, because I'm being shown, we're entering into the solstice period here in June 21st and 22nd. And it's really important for us, those of you who are transmissions, pure embodiments of light, we need to replenish by that time. And I am being guided to have a retreat. I know many times in my videos I'm saying to you, I'm going to have a little break and retreat, but what's the secret? I never do. I never do. I always do something. And if I withdraw from something, then something else finds me. And if it's not this, it's that. And it's a constant. So I'm being shown that retreat, which I'm required to do now before solstice for a week, will be about plugging away from everything, really everything and everyone. And that's what is required for my next level of light embodiment, for the next assessment. And what I'm seeing now is the completion of this book, then moving into this next chapter with the Tantrika book and about the union, the lumen unions, and this retreats, which will be helping people to know how to work with their life force, because that's my main mastery and that's what I'm best at, and that's, I think, is my brilliance that I can offer. And all this information that was coming through years and years was to help with the informational aspect so people could remember and remember. But when we remember, we have to start unifying our life force. We have to start living from it. We have to become the pure crystalline embodiments of what's happening now in our ascended form. So I love you all so much. Take care. There's so many of you that connect with me, and that's so beautiful. But in a way, sometimes it gets me tired too, because I have people always texting me and sending, and I have so many things that I can get like, oh, I just need to be with what I need to create at this time. And it's a learning curve for all of us, because the wider your energy, the more people will kind of want to come in, and we have to use that discernment to know where we're focusing and giving our attention at this time, and that will grow. And we will know that because life force is encoded, and it knows that it always goes towards the highest potential of light. So that's the mastery. That's all shared in my Tantrika course of Life Force Mastery and the Galactic Pulse of Light Mastery as well, so you can upgrade your consciousness consciously. But until that point, I'll see you probably after that break. That's my last video before my retreat, and then I'm going to return and see what's next. I'm going to update you then. I hope you have a beautiful time, as always, with so much love, wisdom, and power, which is the essence of our threefolded flame, the flame of our creation self, our cosmic beloved. I'll see you soon. Take care, and consider supporting my page, or you can do that as well by getting my courses, not just donating. There's many, many ways. So I'll talk to you soon. Take care.